Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And the continuation of our e-learning class, and we are still on the control account. The last week we discussed about the format and the principle of posting all the items in the control account. And today we have illustration 1. The illustration 1 follows. The following balances were extracted from the books of Blessing Enterprises on 31st October 2015. And remember, we have the debtors or sales ledger control account, and we have a purchase or creditors control account. Both of the two accounts has the receiving side and the payment side. And the first one, we have a purchase ledger credit, that's CR, means credit balance, first of the month, that's the opening balance, and the sales ledger balance debit, first of the month, that's the opening balance of the sales ledger control account, followed by purchase day book, sales day book, return outward day book, return inward day books, and we have a check received from customer, check paid to suppliers. Cash refunded from a supplier for overpayment, we have a discount allowed, discount to receive, followed by credit note to receive, and we have a debit note issued. Now, to post all these items into the ledger, that is the purchase ledger control account and sales ledger control account, rule the account, and we have a debit and credit. The first account to prepare, we have a debtors sales ledger control account. The second account is purchase or creditors ledger control account. It will be advisable to prepare, that is, they open the two accounts together. When you first of all rule the account, you rule this purchase. If you like, you can first of all rule the purchase ledger control account and rule the second one, leave some space. That is, you can divide, depend on the nature of the question. If the question is too long, and you leave the full page for the sales ledger control account and move to the second page to rule the purchase or creditors ledger control account. And as we are taking the question one after the other, so that you'll be able to post each item to the different account step by step. And the first expenses, we have a purchase ledger credit. Purchase ledger credit, remember, you have the purchase ledger credit, this is credit side, and you have a debit side. And you have an opening balance. The opening balance, that is the creditors account, must have the credit balance, and therefore you move to the credit side, write the opening. Here you have a balance. You have a balance brought down on the credit side of the purchase ledger control account. That is, I will advise you to be with your own biro and paper. Let's do it together. You have a balance. CR means credit. Opening first day of the month, and you transfer it to the credit side of the purchase ledger control account as the balance brought down, and you write the figure. The second one, you have a sales ledger balance debit, first day of the month or first day of the year, and debit, because you have a debit, the debtors account must have a debit balance. That's why you post the item to the debit side, of the sales ledger control account. Because you have a debit, you post this to the debit side of the sales ledger control account, and purchase ledger credit, and you post this to the what? To the credit side of the sales of the purchase ledger control account, followed by purchase day book. And the purchase day book, here you have the purchase day book. You transfer it to the credit side of this purchase ledger control account. Immediately after your opening balance, you have a purchase on the credit side. The sales day book, sales ledger, you have a sales ledger, you have a sales day book, that's 775,300. You post it to the debit side of the purchase ledger control account. That is the sales ledger control account. You post the 775 naira 300 naira to the debit side of the sales ledger control account. Followed by return outward. Return outwards go along with the purchase figure. And if you have a return outwards, it's part of expenses, must be on the debit side of the purchase ledger control account. That is, the return outward, you have a 39,600 post to the debit side of the purchase ledger control account. Followed by return inward. Return inwards day book. Return inwards day book is another expenses under the sales ledger control account, must be on the credit side of the sales ledger control account. Again, if you have a return outwards day book, return outward day book, if you remember when you are asked to prepare the trading profit and loss account, to prepare the trading profit and loss account, you know we have, if you are giving the purchases, you have a return outward, we used to say less return outward. Therefore, if you have a purchases on the credit side of this purchase ledger control account, return outwards must be on the opposite side. The same thing applicable to the sales ledger control account. If you have a sales on the debit side of the sales ledger control account, return inwards must be minus, or that is post against the sales ledger control account. If you have a sales figure on the, that is the credit sales on this debit side of the sales ledger control account, return inwards must be transferred or posted to the credit side of the debtors or sales ledger control account. Followed by, and take note of one thing, if you are giving the, that is, you are giving the question on the control account, it's possible to give you a trap, that is giving you the cash sales, or you are giving the cash purchases. Cash purchases and cash sales should not be transferred to this account, only the credit sales or the credit purchases, which means the sales day book or purchase day book. The next one, you have a check received from customer. Check received from customer, that is the, you post it to the payment side of the sales ledger control account, that is, you write a bank on the credit side of the sales ledger control account. Check paid to supplier. Check paid to supplier must be posted to the debit side of the purchase ledger control account, as you write a bank, and here you have a check received from customer, that is for the sales ledger control account, you have a 5,566,800 naira. And the check paid to supplier will be posted to the debit side of the purchase ledger control account, you have a 618,600 naira. Cash refund, you have a cash refunded from a supplier for overpayment, and this is the payment, this is the receiving side of the purchase ledger control account, and this is the giving side of the sales purchase ledger control account. Any cash refunded from a supplier, that is returned, and must be on this credit side of the purchase ledger control account payout. And you have a discount allowed. Discount allowed go along with the sales ledger control account, while the discount received go along with the purchase ledger control account. The discount allowed, which is 37,740 naira, be posted to the credit side of the sales ledger control account, while the discount received must be on the debit side of the purchase ledger control account. Discount received 26,000 naira, 780, 26,780 naira. And you have the last one, you have a credit note received, and you have a debit note issue. You have a debit note issue. This credit note received is, we go along with the purchase ledger control account, while the debit note issued will be on the sales ledger control account. The debit note issue will be on the debit side of the sales ledger control account, 5,300 naira, while the credit note received will be on the debit side of the purchase ledger control account, 2,800 naira. And again, when you are, that is after you follow the rule one after the other, once you are given the opening balance, first day of the month or first day of the year, and it's possible to give you another closing balance of the sales ledger balance or purchase ledger balance that will bear the end of the month or end of the year date, either 31st December or 31st March of the year. And if you are giving the end of the month, and if the question indicates you have a CR or you have a DR, the CR, you have a CR for this sales ledger control account, and this is your credit side of the sales ledger control account. Because of the closing balance, you transfer it to the debit side, where it's supposed to act as a balance, where the figure is supposed to act as a balance carried down, and you transfer the figure given to you that bear the end of the year date to this side. And if you are giving the DR for the case of this purchase ledger control account, the purchase ledger control account, and this is the debit side, and you transfer it to where it's supposed to act as a balance carried down. That's if you are giving the ending, that is the end of the year balance, and you transfer it to this side, and you now balance it. You total the credit side of the purchase ledger control account separately, and then total the debit side and find the balance carried down, and you total your own balance. And after this lesson, you may attach the assignment below, and you try the assignment and you write it inside your note, and that's this third assignment you have, and submit immediately. We resume fully. God bless you. Subhana Rabbika. Stop.